Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert. I'm here today for a very special early Tuesday tea time with Chala. It is so hot, I don't have my tea. This is totally unplanned, you guys. This is how we roll, but it is a very special edition. I have a guest here for my Tuesday tea time. Paul, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and who you help.
Well, first of all, I need to stop for a second because who drinks Perrier water anymore? Is that even available in stores?
It's fraise. Wait, can you see that?
Oh,
Fraise.
Oh, I see. Is that one of your sponsors? Are you sponsored by those folks?
No,
or
but
does it actually taste pretty good? It's good.
No, it's awesome. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm a business coach and I'm a speaker and an author, and I serve small business owners, medium-sized business owners who are either at a plateau and stuck or falling backwards, or I help new businesses get shot out of a circus cannon to get off to a good start.
That's what I've always loved about working with you, Paul, is your stupendous sense of humor.
Well, then you better laugh a few times to encourage me. Oh, wait, you shouldn't laugh to encourage me.
Exactly. No, I want to hear this song that you've got for me.
All right. So it's kind of funny because Chala is a unique name and I work hard to remember names. And how I remembered Chala's name is by this John Legend song. And you have to listen because it's only at the very beginning. Now, are you familiar with the song? You said you're a country music fan, so you're probably not, right?
Well, I know.
Are you familiar with? Do you know John Legend?
He's not country music.
I know. That's why I said you're not going to be familiar with the song.
Okay, right. Okay, all right.
Okay, so I'm going to press play, and you have to listen to the very beginning.
What John Legend song has Chala? Anything that sounds like a Chala?
Yes. Here we go. You ready?
Okay. Yes, I'm ready. Okay.
Okay, so he's saying holla, holla, holla.
That is so
And that's how I remembered your name. So every time I see your name, I'd sing to myself that Chala, Chala, Chala song.
I can't believe it.
Now, unfortunately, the song goes on to say, I used to love you, I don't love you anymore. So, the rest of the song doesn't quite fit.
Okay.
Because the work that we've done together has been really helpful.
Okay, good. So the work that we've done together makes sure that the rest of the song is not a good fit. Okay.
Exactly.
Glad to know that, because we are here to dissect your success. So for all of you guys, Paul and I met through my podcast, Naked Marketing, and he was an esteemed guest about a month, I'm going to say maybe 2 months ago, when we met. And, we interviewed, we got along famously. I thought he had so much value to add. And at the end of it, we started to talk. And then, so tell me how well, first of all, I want you to describe the success that you had working with me.
Yeah. Well, the success that I had working with you was eye-opening, because when you're in this space and you're trying to grow your business as a business coach, you have a lot of things going on, but very few things give you the feeling that you have your hands on the steering wheel, because you're doing passive marketing and you're putting content out there and you don't know if it's reaching anybody. What you helped me understand is I can put my hands on the steering wheel and start influencing my own success. Mm-hmm. And that was the biggest learning and the biggest aha moment that I had. Mm-hmm. Was that process.
Now,
so
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say your niche research form that you helped me build, and then I started to use, was just a huge eye opener when you start getting into those conversations with people and you start uncovering things that you just really didn't expect you were going to see or hear.
Well, I'm going to ask you to break it down for everyone, but first I want to hear about the sales success that you had. Tell me about the sale that you got. And you don't have to say how much, but just tell us like how long it took and how it happened.
So I was in the process of getting and building my list of people to talk to. And there was somebody from my networking group that I knew from prior and in my prior industry. And I thought, well, I don't really need to call her, but I will, just to get another name on my list and to practice having this conversation. And then as I started going through the conversation, all of a sudden it was like, how much would you spend to fix this problem, was the question around that. And she said, oh my gosh, I would absolutely spend that kind of money to fix this problem. And I thought, oh, right. And I really didn't expect that response from her. So I almost didn't know where to go next. But of course, I've been in sales long enough. And if you are a fisher person, and your line is in the water and you have a bobber on it and the bobber goes down, you pull up for the fish, right? So I knew that much, that I had a fish, and I pulled her into the boat, and we started working together. So it was a big aha for me. And it just motivates me to continue using the survey process, because not only am I learning about a whole bunch of different industries and their pain points, but I'm getting business out of it.
Yeah. So this is what I love about Paul, is that you just have to give him direction, and he's just wildly enthusiastic and throws himself into it. So I'm going to take us all back to when you were making the decision to hire, because I want this session of the Tuesday Tea Time today to be an education for people, to provide value and take people into your mindset, mostly about mindset. So I'd really love to hear, it's called the decision tree. So what was the decision journey to hiring me?
Well, first of all, when we did our podcast, I got a chance to get to know you, and it was interesting. Podcast, if I could take you back to that, it was really it was embarrassing, but somehow you made me comfortable enough to admit my embarrassment. So my embarrassment was that I was out on a mountain biking ride.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm out on a mountain bike ride, and in the back of my head, I'm thinking, hey, I'm about 30 minutes from my next appointment, which I think is just a phone appointment, but I better start heading back. So I start heading back, and as I'm getting closer to my car, I'm getting more and more nervous about what kind of an appointment it was. So I stopped on my bike and checked my phone, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a podcast. It's not just an appointment to jump on a phone call, it's a podcast. So I get to my car. Luckily, I had to change of clothes, because my plan was, I had an appointment later. I was going to go to a gym nearby that I could shower at and change. So luckily, I had my clothes with. So I set up my camera in my front dash. I got out of my sweaty clothes, put on a shirt, and left my biking shorts on. Obviously, that wasn't in the camera. And we started our podcast. And it was funny, because you got on the phone or on the podcast, and you said something like, well, this is unique. We've never had anybody do their podcast in their car, but we're going to go ahead with this. And we went through the process, and you were just so calming and cool. And it was just a great we just got along really well right away. And after that, I was in your mix. So I was starting to get emails, and I was getting more pieces, and I would reach out to you from time to time for advice. And then I got onto one of your workshops, and just more and more I was drawn to you. And what amazed me is that I felt like there was a tractor beam pulling me in to your world. And so I was intrigued by that. What I was saying to myself is, all right, she's in Canada. I've never seen her in person, and she's got this tractor beam that's pulling me in. How can I develop that kind of a tractor beam? Mm-hmm. And when I asked you about it, you very specifically said, it's the message that I'm putting out there is what you need to hear.
Exactly.
And I thought, okay, so it's the messaging. Somehow I need to develop and build that, because I don't have people coming to me the way that I felt like I was being drawn to you.
Mm-hmm. So I love everything that you're saying, because you're taking us like down your thought process. Now, let's talk about overcoming the mindset blocks to actually spending the money, because you are a fairly new business. You're not in the multiple 7 figures yet. And my work is not cheap. So you had to make that decision to invest. And so talk to us about how you overcame those mental barriers.
Some of them were with your story. So you told your story to me or on a webinar that I was attending. And I thought, oh my gosh, that was just a year ago or a year and a half ago.
Mm.
And the story that I remember, as I recall it, obviously I won't be perfect on it, but you are a great presenter and got a lot of your business by getting on a stage and talking to people, and they would come to you after. And all of a sudden, when COVID shut you down, you almost went into kind of a depressed state of, oh my gosh, it's all over. And then you changed gears, you reinvested in yourself, in your business, at a very high volume of investment that just about scared me to death. I thought, oh my gosh, that's really gutsy, but look at where she's at now. So it was kind of like, all right, well, you need to invest, but it's so tough as a newer coach. I think what happens is we get bird dogged by a lot of different marketing programs. Oh, it's a new coach, let's get that person. Right. And so you get thrown a lot of trash, and sometimes you buy into programs that don't work and don't help. So you, after a while of doing that, you have to get pretty cautious, right? You could just blow all your money and then you're out of business. And none of those people are going to come back and say, hey, you know what? I know my program didn't work, but here's your money back so you can keep going, right? Once you're out of monopoly money, you're out of monopoly money. So I did a lot of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you recommend? How do people decide?
It's exposure. So I got to know you a little bit on the podcast. Then I got to know you on the webinars. And then when I would reach out, you didn't shut your door in my face. Like, hey, listen, I'd like to spend 4 minutes with you right now, but you're not on the clock. You're not a current client, so I'm not going to do that. You made I know your time is very valuable. I look at all the stuff that you do, and I thought to myself, she's given me some time to just chat here. And she's got these million things going on at the same time. That says something about her. And deep down inside, it feels to me like she gives a crap about helping people develop their businesses. So I have a way of evaluating people and things. And over time, it just, all of these boxes started checking off. Not only that, but it was that tractor beam that everything was saying yes. And I thought, well, why wouldn't I give this a try?
Got it. So I just want to emphasize two things that you talked about. One is the content is so important. You see, you guys, like I am constantly trying to get my clients to output more content, and I shouldn't have to tell them that, but it's because it works. You know, I mean, there's research that says like 7 pieces of content are consumed before an actual purchase now. So that's what I'm talking about, is you actually have proved that statement to be true by consuming all of the content that I had, because that made you feel like you could make a much better informed decision about the next new thing. Because otherwise, really, they are so well positioned, Paul. And most of them are bigger than me and shinier than me and have bigger machines than me. And yet when you spend some time with that content, it's the only way you know, without really paying for that person, whether they can help you or not. So that's really good. And the second part is that you, at the end of the day, you had to take a risk. I mean, there was really nothing else left for you to do. Once you were able to check all the boxes of what you could find out about me, you were able to do that. So there's a third thing that I just thought about, is the reason why I was able to spend time with you, meaningful time with you, both before you became a client and after, is because I charge a lot. So I don't have a lot of clients, and I don't need a lot of clients. I just need a handful to live a phenomenal life. And that keeps growing and growing and growing. So those are some of the points that you've just made for me. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's get back to describe the process of what you had to do to get the sale, in terms of when we first started working together, and then, you know, how you got to the sale.
So when we first started working together, I felt that one of the stumbling blocks of your program would be making the outbound calls to these people. And so I thought to myself, well, the last thing that I want to do is spend the money on this program and then sit on my hands and not do anything about it. So I made a call. I think within 5 minutes of us getting off the phone, I made a call to a business owner. And I just remember when I started in sales, well, I shouldn't say when I started in sales, when I started my career in Arizona, I had to make cold phone calls. And what I did is I disciplined myself to say, as soon as 5 o'clock hit, I had to make that first call. If I waited, if I dawdled, if I was out BSing with the other reps, that wasn't going to be helpful. So at 5 o'clock sharp, boom, I had that phone call or that phone in my hand, and I had to start dialing, because guess what? After 3, 4, 5 dials, you're into the swing of it. You're going to be fine. But I thought to myself, yeah, I could see where you would have problems making these phone calls. So I called a low-hanging piece of fruit that was a business owner. And I know his business was going well during the pandemic because he had an RV business. And so I thought, what the heck, I'll call him and see how this whole process works. And I got through that first call and I was amazed at what I learned. I've met and talked to this friend of mine several times and never gotten into these kind of discussions, even after I started coaching. So it was great. And then I recorded it and I sent it to you for review.
That was amazing.
Which was really good, because you're like, hey, this is what you did well. Here's what you can work on. By the way, this question that you're asking it the wrong way, it's supposed to be like this. And I thought to myself, well, geez, if I went and made 20 more calls and had that wrong, it would have kind of destroyed the whole project. So it was nice to have immediate feedback on how I was doing and how I was doing it early on in the process. And I think I sent the first 2, 3, 4 to you, and the feedback got smaller and smaller. And then I thought, okay, I think I've got this. I might as well just keep going. And then you also showed me the video, a success video of one of your clients who something like 3 or 4 years down the road is joking around on their video saying, well, I got to make these calls again, but doggone it, they work. I guess I got to do that. And I thought, well, this is going to be part of my future. And eventually it will become somebody on my team that's helping me make those calls, but I'll be the master of it before it ever gets there. So then I can be the trainer. I can listen to those recordings and say, no, this is how I want you to position that question.
2 things, Paul, you did really well was, 1, you took immediate action, right? You took immediate action. And 2 is you went above and beyond and taped it and sent it to me. So you utilized me, and every client has the same, ability to do that. And I tell them that, there are clients who do this. You can use me. You have unlimited access to me between, business hours, Eastern business hours, because my 12-year-old will hang up on you if you call after hours.
Nice.
So, right. So those are the 2 things that you took advantage of and you did well. Now talk to me about, again, the mindset piece. What was there any insidious negative thoughts that you had when you were doing the research?
Not so much. I knew that making these calls to me was going to be like putting my hand on a hot burner, and you don't want to do that, and your brain doesn't want to do that. But if you can force yourself just to touch it a little bit here and there, it's going to pay off. Now, you can't really take that analogy and make it work, because putting your hand on a hot burner never does anything for you. But I knew that that's what it was going to feel like.
Cold water and swimming, right?
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
So, I didn't have anything, but I did have some challenges in mindset, and you helped kind of cure those, because it's impossible as a new business owner to not have some of that imposter, some of those imposter thoughts coming in. Am I really good enough? And I asked you some, direct questions, and you, without delay, said, no, I don't see that as being a problem. Of course, you're going to be fine. You're going to be amazing. It's going to go great. And you just have to continue doing what you're doing. So I can't think of anything really insidious that I experienced before making the calls, except for, they're going to be a challenge.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. And that's part of what, and I don't know, like, was your job that you had for 2 decades, in high senior levels. You worked up to the senior levels in the insurance industry. Was there a lot of outreach? Like, were you trained to, and did you do a lot of outreach?
Outreach was survival. But by the time I was getting to the end, I had other people doing most of that. So I had built up to that point. Now, when I was going to make the switch and start into coaching on my own, I knew that I was going to have that job back.
Yeah.
And I really didn't mind the job when I did it, because I looked at it as a game and I knew that it was going to produce a result. So I wasn't worried about getting it back. I just knew that I wasn't going to start with 5 staff people right away and having them hammer out all these marketing programs for me.
So in a way, it was muscle memory for you, wasn't it?
Yes, learn muscle memory, and way warmer, because I'm calling warm people. I'm not calling freezing cold people, talking to them about something that they really don't want to talk about. I'm calling people and asking them questions about them, which they always want to talk about. So
right. Their problems.
They're pretty easy phone calls to make. And even when I called people that were outside of my warm circle, it was a warm conversation, because again, hey, I want to ask you some questions about you and your business that are going to help me. It's only going to take me 10 or 15 minutes. And I've got a gift for you at the end that I was always going to make a joke, right? And they're like, okay, sure, Paul, that sounds great. And then away we go.
That's great. So, in closing, now, what are, the 2 or 3 things that you learned either about marketing or about yourself or about business? What are some of the things that you're taking with you at the end of our engagement together?
Some of the things are that even though you're working in the US markets and trying to erase the fact that you're from Canada, you still say about. So that's one of the things that I'm taking with me. You just can't erase that. That's
I am not surprised.
The other thing I would say, secondarily to that, by a long shot, I'm sure, I think trust is a big piece. And I trust you. I trust your advice. I trust your angles of attack, helping business owners get better at what they're doing. There's just a lot of integrity. So I can tell you that one of the biggest takeaways is your integrity is a breath of fresh air compared to some of the things that I've worked with. I've gotten some good counsel, but not all of it was good counsel. And I've appreciated one of the things that you've done, and I'm putting this out there, I don't know if you have done this front of mind, is that through your selection process, you kind of selected me and said to yourself, I think this guy's got potential. And that was helpful in the way that you talked to me and worked with me. You said to me, I can do this. And that was helpful as well. Not that I didn't believe that, but everybody needs to get a little bit of confirmation that they're doing the right thing and that things are going you're moving in the right direction as you're headed down that path.
Absolutely. Do you have any last, parting advice to everyone who's watching us?
Do your research, make the investment, and go. Don't sit on your hands, because every day that you wait and you think, well, maybe I oughta, you got to make the investment. You have to invest in somebody that you know, like, and trust. Just realize that we as coaches, especially, are always going to be investing in coaching.
Always.
Every coach that you know has a coach. And I thought that was just a term to sell me at the beginning, but then it hit me and I realized that I did, not from you, but at the beginning, it's like coaches need coaches, and I thought, no, coaches are suckers for additional coaching, right? It's personal development. And the neat thing about it is that I can bring the knowledge that I'm picking up from you to my clients and help them. So that's why you're always investing in yourself. And I just figured that out, but you just want to invest wisely, pick the right people and go.
Thank you. And how can people reach you, Paul?
The best way is through my website, which is www.paulmoehring, moehring.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being an amazing client that I was always so jazzed to talk to and to see your results and to see you soar. And I'm looking forward to seeing even bigger results.
Absolutely. Thank you.